Heading out to skate, and gonna give you a quick impression on some new gear that I just got really excited about. Here is the Ecolite X-Pivot, and this has probably got to be the tiniest 1 degree of freedom fixed angle truck out there for LDP. So based on the website description, Ecolite X-Pivot has two options. You're looking at 20 degrees and a 55 degree truck, both utilizing fat cone bushings with a X-pivot mechanism to maintain 1 degree of freedom fixed angle. Truck width, you can get your axle width between 127 and 150 millimeters, which is kind of standard for LDP setups. So here's a little bit more detail about the Ecolite X-Pivot. Where the brand name is actually where the front of the truck is supposed to be oriented to. So in this case, got it set up in a negative 20 degrees. It's got mounting for both old and new school truck mounts, so it's going to give you some flexibility. As you can see on my board with the tail, I've got an additional riser just so that I can height match with my front. Currently running the seismic megawatts. Now, a really cool thing about this pivot truck compared to other like 0 degrees like the MK axle or the S-tail is you can remove your wheels on the axles with just one skate tool, since the axle is fixed, not free floating. Just like that. Oops. Okay, for a back, I think a good lesson learned is don't lose your washers in the grass. Dang, that's close. Alright, so affixed to the truck here, you can see the axle itself. It comes along with two spacers for your variable width between 127 to 150 millimeters. There is a nylon sleeve that is placed as such, as well as an additional washer for the nylon sleeve. So the current truck takes standard barrel bushings heights, so it's got fat cones, I think, and this is how the internal mechanism looks like. Now, you do require a bit of dremeling for the insides of your bushings, because the mechanism, if you're not sure if you can see that, pivot right there rests with a tiny like cotter pin or axle right in there to maintain the angle. Now, the angle is fixed from this this section here. The little cotter pin goes in, fixes the entire axle in position, and is secured by a bolt right here. Now, vibration is definitely one of our concerns, so part of the design of this truck is to utilize Loctite or Teflon tape on the nut. Sorry, the bolt that's actually holding the entire mechanism together. So, swapping out the bushings is fairly easy, provided you do have pre-Dremel ones. I think that is something I would have maybe having an option of a little bit of a thicker spacer in between the bushings would have prevented the need for drum bushings, but in a brief email conversation with John, he did explain that by doing so, you would kind of limit the travel of the axle. So yeah, so this is basically how the truck design is. It's pretty neat, right? Fixed angle truck in such a small package. The X-Pivot works pretty decently for pumping, and pushing as well. With no stability issues. Minus 20 pushing Mongo speed. I see, not a problem. Pumping compared to the S-tail and MK axle, this fixed angle, 1 degree of freedom rear definitely feels a lot more locked in compared to a free floating axle 0 degree. You can see there's no weird clicking noises, rattling from the truck. Pumping is smooth. Got enough clearance with my board so that wheel bite is not an issue. It's working really, really well with my front truck as well. So yeah, pumping is working pretty darn awesome. I think based on initial design, and if you go check out the website, you can see John utilizing it on a double drop board like the Pantheon Trip 55 in the front with -20, and he's pumping it. I think if you are an existing Lonan Kaka Bloody Pusher user, well, this truck definitely works for the board. I think if you are going to get Lana's Stingray tail, when it becomes into production, this is going to be another viable truck for that. I think if you do have a drop fork, like super steady skates, drop fork 1 or 2 or similar, you definitely can mount these on like a top mounted, some risers as well, and you could use it on those bracket boards. These will definitely work with G-bomb style brackets as well, for sure. So I think something to bear in mind that because of how it's designed, the amount of rake the trucks have is basically a 0 rake truck. That means the amount of lean and turn is going to be extremely linear. You're not going to get that divey motion with, let's say, a truck with like 6 mm rake, or so you won't have that very nice divey feeling, especially towards the end of the lean. So bear that in mind. I think for the 20 degrees, it's pretty okay. It doesn't feel too dead, but for the 55, my current testing as a negative rear for negative 45 to 40 degrees definitely feels a little bit less exciting compared to 20. So I think that's something you should bear in mind. If you're a supersonic user, I think this is something you could definitely try for the rear as well, either the 55 or the 20 to get your desired angles. I think what I really like for me, as for my specific use case, is I'm no longer confined to a 0 degree truck for this board. And I hope if you do find this useful and something that you think could work for your setup, definitely love to hear your thoughts and comments about it.